Hello, my name is Gloria, and today I will talking about the three R's, and we try to ask the question, which is better, reduce, reuse, or recycle? More than once, we have heard this rule of the three R's, and if you've never heard of this, let me put you in context. Okay, what is the three R rule? The three R's call it the commandment of ecological behavior. This rule is part of the waste hierarchy, which is a process used to protect the environment and conserve resources through a priority approach. The aim is to get the most practical benefits from products and to generate the minimum amount of waste. But have we ever wondered which of these is better or which helps the planet the most? To answer the question of which is better, let's talk a little about what each of the three R's means and talk about the advantages of each. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. These concepts can often be confusing as they are related, but they are not the same. Let's talk about to reduce. Waste reduction and waste prevention is all about reducing waste at the source. In terms of waste management, it is always the best option. Waste is often due to the inefficient use of resource or bad planning. For example, buying food we don't need on impulse or because there's a special offer and then wasting it. Today is to use and throw away. Everything is momentary, ephemeral, fleeting, and disposable. The problem of consuming is one of the biggest problems today. We're trapped in an insatiable desire to acquire new things. This is largely due to the media and adversity. We have been responsible for a long time that irrational consumption continues to grow. Consumerism accounts for 60% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Now, let's see what use refers to. Reuse means using a product more than once, either for the same purpose. For example, returnable glass milk bottles, or for a different purpose, such as hold jam jars for food storage. Repairing products, selling them, or donating them to charity community groups is also reusing. It's preferable to recycling because the item doesn't need to be reprocessed before it can be used again, which saves both money and reduces the environmental impact. Reusing has many advantages. Among these is that it prevents use from unnecessarily buying new products with which the impact generated will be much lower. In addition to 10,000 tons of waste, reusing them creates um, 296 jobs, while recycling only 36. A very important advantage is that reuse is part of the new circular economy since its objective is to turn waste into a resource. Well, and last but not least, let's talk about the meaning of recycling. Recycling is a way to manage waste materials once they have been generated if they can be reused. It prevents waste from being sent to landfill and makes waste into new goods or products. This can involve turning the whole material into a new versions of the same things or into something completely different. For example, used glass bottles can be recycled into new bottles, or they can be recycled raw materials for use in construction projects. But what do you get with this? Fundamentally, that they become raw material for the same function, that is, to be able to manufacture more glass bottles, more plastic bags, or more aluminum cans, etc. Well, now let's mention some of its advantages. Recycling is that it's beneficial for everyone, not only from an ecological point of view, but also economically. For example, it helps to reduce production costs, and since obtaining raw material is usually more expensive than recycling it. It helps to have a smaller volume of garbage that in some cases can take hundreds of years to degrade, such as plastic, for example. And now that we know each of the concepts and some of the advantages of reduce, reuse, and recycle, can we say which is better? Well, each of these is important and helps us to generate an environmental impact. If we should put the three R's into practice to create a greater impact. By comparing, then we can conclude that the way in which we can measure which is better is based on the advantages and above all which helps us to attack root problems. By analyzing each of these alternatives, we can say that each of them helps us to impact the environment. However, some have more advantages than others. If we compare recycling and reuse of the three R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle, the latter is the least valuable and yet is the most published. The benefits of recycling are important, but far from the benefits of reuse. As an example of this, reusing generates many more jobs if we compare it with those generated by recycling. Now, in my opinion and point of view, the most viable option will always be to reduce. Reducing unnecessary consumption helps you to generate less waste, less carbon footprint, and as a consequence, there isn't much material that we have to reuse or recycle. With this, we could attack the root problem. We will make a big change if we put each of the three R's into practice with simple actions, like not buying things that have too much packaging, to help in the recycling process, begin to separate the garbage is an option. To reuse, we can start with sustainable fashion, which in addition to being good for the environment, is good for our economy. The daily actions, even if they're small, generate change. And if each one made one of these small changes together, the change will be a greater. The first step could be to analyze if what we're consuming is necessary. That will be a good question to start with the change. Reflecting is part of the change too. It's time to change some ideas that we have and generate actions. You can be part of the change. Thank you for watching. Bye.